Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with part three of some of the many things I wish to cover or discuss on my YouTube channel to do with Football Fridays. Although it's actually Saturday today because I'm a day late, but than planned. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you will share it with football fans, and football fans will discuss your thoughts in the comments. I want to make these sort of videos more about, generally speaking, more about football generally rather than the football teams I support, like Town Team and Celtic. But obviously, I will cover those a little bit. But in the future, I would love to collaborate, as I've said before, with football fans generally, like of rival clubs or other clubs generally as well, from all over the world, if I can, like either online or even in person, and make videos together and discuss things together. So that, like, fans of all sorts of football teams, and yeah, maybe discuss things like how to get more people into football and things like that as well. But obviously, I will cover more about Italian football and Celtic in many cases, and sometimes I might just cover things about Italian football and Celtic. But again, I would love to hear from fans of, like, say, Sheffield Wednesday or Sheffield United or Notts Forest or Notts County or Coventry or Birmingham or Everton at the moment, who are struggling, or whatever other football teams have fans about their worst fears and the biggest dreams, or whatever else they want to discuss. And I hope people will comment in the comment section if I'm unable to collaborate with them as well, or instead rather. Anyway, so here goes. So number 21. I know I have these habits of thinking things in list form, but I'd love to have something where I discuss like how to make Italian football great again, and how to make Italian football world class again. This has been quite a good season so far for Italian club teams, although it's not been so great for the national team. But I hope that both the club teams and national team at the same time can get back to greatest times, and Italian football can get the best possible managers, players, coaches, and whatnot to Italian football. And again, I'd love to discuss with Italian football fans and other fans as well, like even Celtic fans, whether you would swap Big Ange for anyone in the world. But even Rangers fans are welcome to comment. It hopefully won't be too harsh or too rude, as long as they don't incite violence. Everyone is welcome to comment. Obviously, if you do incite violence, I'll probably have to report it. But other than that, anyone's welcome to comment. Anyway, I do waffle, I know. But yeah, I would love to perhaps work with FIFA again, as I talked before about, and U.E.F.A and others. Well, I say again, but as I mentioned before, just recapping that point. Not that I've worked with FIFA before, but I would love to work with FIFA, U.E.F.A and others to discuss like things like the history of football, getting more people to learn about the history of football and how football has advanced over the years, and that sort of thing. Number 22. Um, I'd love to remember old ideas as well. I forgot to say point number 21. But yeah, as I say, 21 again, with my patterns and all that. But also, as I look into the future, I would love for the Arabs generally to like the Sultan of like countries like Doha. Even though I don't know much about Doha, maybe I could find out about Doha if they invest in Italian football teams. Maybe they could encourage more people to find out about them. But I would love for Arabs to invest in Italian football, Africans to invest in Italian football, Asians to invest in Italian football, and Celtic as well, as much as possible. Banks, businesses, and all sorts. So I'd love to encourage them to invest. But again, for these videos, I hope to listen to fans from different clubs as well and give them a voice. And hopefully, fans from all sorts of different teams will comment in the comment section, preferably from all around the world. But I was thinking recently, like when I saw something about how Sheikh Jassim, apologies if I butchered his name, but I hope he'll forgive me if he ever sees these videos. But maybe Arabic people can post in the comments any correct pronunciations. But Sheikh Jassim, again, apologies if I butchered his name, but people like that. And again, the leader of Doha, Dubai, Qatar and places like that. I think he's the leader of Qatar, and recently, apparently, he was going to invest in, or he's thinking of investing in, or he's trying to invest in. I was going to say AC Milan, then unfortunately, not. It's Man United, but I dream that he will invest in, and other Arabs as well would invest in Juventus and bring back Juventus to some of its best days. But help Juventus, maybe even as a fan of Italian football generally, I'd love it if investors from Arab countries and even Africa and Asia, maybe as Juventus play in black and white. I think it'd be great if there was like diverse investors, symbolically. Obviously, black and white often represents diversity because it's like opposites, and I suppose. But yeah, I think it'd be cool if Juventus had investors from all these Arab countries Arabs to invest in Juventus, and Africans to invest in Juventus, Asians to invest in Juventus, and Juventus as a club to stand against racism or prejudice, and also to make it like a new Juventus I talked about recently on my channel like a month or so ago, perhaps, or I think it was. Well, I'll probably discuss it a few times, but yeah, or Napoli or a team like that. Again, I'm a fan of Italian football generally, so I'd be happy for any of those to have investment, or any Italian team really. Yeah, Sampdoria, as it's a Saturday, maybe I should say Sampdoria or Fiorentina if I'm talking about on these videos on Fridays. But yeah, any Italian team and to have those sorts of investors. But I was thinking as Juventus, they'd be going through problems because they were in trouble with some sort of financial irregularities. I think they had points deductions. I know they had points deductions, but I think they were taken away. But yeah, I'd love for wealthy investors like the Sultan of Doha and Qatar and Dubai and places like that to invest in Italian teams like Juventus or Napoli. Or Italian teams to have multiple shareholders, also like companies that begin with J. I thought like a controversial one like Juventus, because it sounds like Juventus, like, but also if Jews and Arabs also invested in Juventus, it could be like symbolic again, like going back to also black and white, like how people can put aside their differences or show that not all Jewish or Arabic people have to hate each other. But yeah, stuff like that. And Celtic, I'd love for as many investors to invest in Celtic and shareholders and to do it to be as successful as possible, in spite of being in such a small league or a weaker league or whatever. But I think it'd be interesting, as I said before, like if if Celtic had like billions of pounds, especially being in the Scottish League, how much they could achieve and could they do well in Europe and internationally. It'd be interesting if Celtic could win the World Club Cup like, for the first time in its history, or Juventus also, and Napoli. And Napoli had a good season, but I hope they will continue to have a good season. I think it'll be great to see those type of players, those type of clubs, or Italian clubs generally, bring in the best possible managers, coaches, players, and whatever it takes to build a good football team, and also academies so they develop younger players. And again, similar for Celtic. But yeah, I hope to network with other people as well for collaborating together for new ideas and stuff like that as well. And read any comments where people might offer suggestions for things they might want to hear me cover, or any stories that you've heard that I could cover on this channel, like for football, or any Google articles or anything like that included that I could cover. Number 23, I'd love to do, as I said before, like football for good, and look at how to fundraise and be involved in football fundraisers and things like that. Number 24, I'd love to expand football around the world, especially Italian football and Celtic, but football generally, and encourage as many people to get into football and give opportunities for people to get into football from disadvantaged backgrounds, poorer backgrounds, and that kind of thing all around the world, and keep football as the world's number one sport, as it's the best sport in the world to me. Number 25, I hope to benefit republics, especially because I'm a bit biased, but also, as I say, talk about my personal dreams for football. Number 26, I also hope to do things like reparations through football and giving back and stuff like that. Again, helping disadvantaged communities, and again, reparations, supporting what I call the six as well in some ways, like fundraising through football, as I say, but tackling poverty and things like that as well. Number 27, I hope that Italian football and Celtic especially honour and acknowledge all those who have contributed to Italian football and Celtic respectively in any possible way. For instance, like Mourinho, who's won a Champions League and a Conference League with Italian teams, like with Inter and Roma respectively, and hopefully he'll win another trophy this year to cement his legacy, and hopefully he'll be acknowledged in Italian football. But yeah, I think acknowledging people and appreciating them encourages more people to, so for instance, acknowledging investors will hopefully encourage more investors, and like rewarding them is sensible to me. I'd love for Italy and Celtic to look at how they can attract investors and like talk to investors about what sort of things they want. In Italy's case, for instance, or even Celtic, like with Celtic Park, which would be good for Scotland as well. So that's something that politicians there could encourage. They could host events to bring in best possible investors, people like Sheikh Jassim and others, to Celtic Park, and Italian football can do similar. Obviously across Italy, to talk about what investors would want in return for bringing back Italian football to the glory days and things like that. Number 28, I hope we will turn negative situations into positives and tackle things like, climate change and other such things that are plaguing the world, and like like I say, make the world a better place, turn negative situations into positives, and yeah, help people who are going through a bad time, help victims of natural disasters or other things like that. If we can prevent those sorts of things with football, I think that'd be awesome. But if not, like at least having a cure would be something positive. Number 29, especially through Italian football and Celtic, especially if not solely through Italian football and Celtic, I would love to raise awareness of neurodiversity and what positive things we can contribute to the world, in this case football. One of the projects would be that I want to set up is like neurodiverse people going to Italy and also work with Celtic in Italy and Glasgow, or, excuse me, or Scotland respectively, but also around the world, working with Italian clubs and Celtic around the world as well, to share our ideas and showcase what we can accomplish, so people can see a more positive side of neurodiversity. And also, I'd love to show for neurodiverse people, as a side note, showcase what we can do for developing countries and that kind of thing. And number 30, I would love to read any, as I say, read your comments and any suggestions you have, anything you would like me to cover, as I say, anything new you would like me to do, and yeah, any constructive criticism. I know I do repeat myself a lot and do have a few weaknesses, and do worry if anyone actually likes my videos out there. But yeah, if you provide any constructive criticism of how I could improve, or what sort of things you would like to see, or any ideas you have, uh, and any positive comments you want to say, like to encourage me, if that would be great. That would be even better. Obviously, constructive criticism will help me to improve as well. So I think that's equally important, if not in some ways more so, because it will help me to improve, as I say. And also, I'd love to showcase what Anglo Indians and other neurodiverse people can do. And apart my imagination, I think it would be cool if like other mixed race groups, like part white and part black, or Blasians, part black and part Asian, supported Brazilian football, because Brazil is quite diverse. But Anglo Indians and other Eurasians could support Italian football and showcase what we could do for Italian football. Maybe we could have like some friendly sort of competition and rivalry between each other, although I believe the mixed race people should unite as much as possible. But yeah, we could have like a friendly rivalry, just to keep things interesting, perhaps, and I suppose just a bit of fun anyway, and that kind of thing. Although I do take my football quite seriously, and it's one of my biggest dreams to see Italian teams and Celtic do well, as you could probably see from these videos if you watch enough of them. But yeah, so I think it'd be, as I say, an interesting, friendly sort of rivalry. Although I believe we should be united to get as much as possible mixed race people. But yeah, if other mixed race people, it just feels like just so, or just right, or just fitting for Blasians and other mixed race, like what I call caramel, which is half white and half black, to support Brazil, and like Anglo Indians and other Eurasians to support Italian football and Celtic, and all mixed race people support Celtic as well. But yeah, it just feels like something that it feels just right. But yeah, for some reason, but yeah, we could have a friendly rivalry as long as we keep it obviously friendly. But I still think overall we should unite. And that kind of thing. But yeah, in the live chats, in future videos, I hope more people will comment. So please don't hold back any feedback if you do have any ideas or suggestions or anything you want to comment. But yeah, in the future, I dream that I'll network with people from all around the world, really, from Australia, America, the Americas generally, especially Latin America, Brazil, Argentina, places which are big football-loving countries. Obviously, Italy, as I say, Celtic, also England, Spain, Portugal, Germany, and all around the world. Like, as I say, even rivals, putting rivalry aside for good causes or things like that, or just to talk about our views about football, our least and most favourite things and stuff like that. Anywho, I am out. Peace and out.